So we left off trying to figure out the appropriate way to do a stock model. I understand that it was very difficult using the levels and such to create a stock model. To do it just like it was shown in the Titans of CNC video doesn't necessarily work well with Mastercam 2021 in that unless the stock model is placed where it should be, okay, in the actual toolpath tree here, it won't necessarily be useful to the program to create the appropriate machine code. So in other words, all of the work that was done towards creating a new level, creating a stock model with a bounding box on this part here, as you can see what I've done, so that you can turn it off, doesn't really amount to any useful work. So what I'm going to do is show you very quickly. We're going to go back to toolpaths. You should be in a situation like this to where you have your part done. We're going to pretend that we didn't do a stock model and rename it and all that other fun stuff. And we can start from right here by simply selecting stock model and creating one. Now, before we get started, there is a stock setup, and you can do a very similar situation. The only problem with this stock setup right here is that it's not useful for the program there in order to create the appropriate code for the OptiRough cycle. So while you can go ahead and do that here and then use the stock display to be able to turn it on and off, essentially it's not useful to the program, and therefore if you're just trying to set up and run a part, you're going to have to do what I'm getting ready to show you anyway. So in the toolpath group, that's where you have the arrow here. It's saying, hey, I'm ready for the next command. We can go up here and select stock model, and it's going to pop up this dialog box. And we can do much like he showed you before, stock model. Okay, so now that we have that, instead of clicking model, since you don't have that stock model out here to start with, we don't need to do that. We can start with just a rectangular block. And so instead of also going to the wireframe section up here, you can simply go down to right from this section, bounding box, and perform the same function. So one click highlights the entire thing and the selection, and now there's a box completely surrounding this. So let's go back and type in the values that he had, right? It was a 4.1 inch long part, and it was actually 1x2. And the Z, we're going to do just what he did, and that is, if you notice that when I changed the dimension, it actually added it on both sides equally. In this case, I agree with what he did, and that's click here, click there. So in other words, if you click on the bottom once, the arrow shows up. If you click on the arrow, it'll move and bring up a dialog box at the same time where we can type in 0.23, enter, and then enter a second time will actually update the information over here. So if you were watching it, it updated the information over here. Now, if I move this, the stock is right at the top of my part. It's all the way around. It's right what I want. Now, am I done? The answer is no. I need to make sure that geometry is created that I can reference off of, because right now it's just a puffy blue entity and nothing, and I won't have anything to select unless lines and arcs and solids are created. So from this, I'm going to click OK, and now it brings this screen back up, and generally you're done. A few things that I would recommend though is one, change your material capacity. If you go to glass, notice here that this black triangle is covering most of that up, and then it gets less and less as you go down. Select the lowest one, and you can also change the color if you wish. Here is a pretty blue. I'm going to click the check there. This is an unnecessary portion, but you can do it if you'd like. But once you click and you're back here, all these values should have followed it, if you noticed. And then you click this check here, and as you can see, I changed the color and it's perfect for this illustration. You can see that the box is surrounding the part. Okay, so no need to go into wireframe and do all that stuff. You can literally do it as soon as you start the toolpath, hit stock model, and create the whole stock model from there. Now, the stock model is important because if you're cutting a larger piece of stock, you can put that in, and then that way the machine knows to clean all of those components up. Now, the last little portion here that was different than the tutorial that we saw from Titans of CNC is that when they made the stock model from here, they could turn it on and off. Okay, regardless of what you've done here, you can't turn this off in this situation. It is an evil that you're going to have to deal with. In order to make it easier to see down inside of the pocket for your tool paths, I recommend right next to tool paths is view. If you click there, you can go over to appearance. So let's play with appearance a little bit. Wireframe. Oh, that's a wireframe. Outline shaded, we'll go back to that. Translucency. Translucent means I can see through it, right? Awesome. Now I can actually see through my part. I know where the floor is. I know where the pocket is. I can see those items. So I'll be able to see my tool paths down into my part. Now again, this is something that I believe is an issue with Mastercam 2021, that you can't make that go away. And as you notice here, I was showing you in tool paths over near the stock model. Clicking stock display and hiding it does not work. It is there to stay, unfortunately. But it will provide you with the appropriate information to do the roughing passes and know how much material to take off and how much material is there to take off.